to Kardec Radio. Here we are. It's still our 13th anniversary. It is a big deal because all the works of the good on earth, they are still an exception, and we are part of this exception. One day it's going to be the rule. All radios are going to talk about things that are nourishing our souls. All music, all arts, all sciences, all efforts. So here I am, Vanessa Anseloni and Felipe Gueno.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, he is here with us as well. We are here together with you to talk about the foundation of Spiritism. It's about what is Spiritism, this book that is changing lives since the 19th century. Kardec, with his visionary mind, brought to us a summary of all the teachings. But more than that, he taught us how to talk about it with people who don't know of it, who want to know of it, or who just dispute it or skeptical about it. And it's okay. Kardec is not afraid of talking, having conversations. On the contrary, he loves educating people. And today we're going to talk about the existence of spirits. Are you a spirit? Are you afraid of spirits? Because if you're afraid, are you afraid of yourself? Because you're a spirit connected to a physical body. So, to talk about this, we have two friends that are going to join us, and they have dedicated their lives to studying Spiritism. And one of them is here in the United States, and the other is in Brazil. They will be introduced one by one. I will begin with the one that is the farthest away. Roberto Watanabe, from the Spiritist Federation of the state of São Paulo, the president of that organization that is amazing. Felipe was there. He's going to talk about it. But Roberto, thank you so much for your time, for being with us at this hour. How are you?
Thank you, Vanessa, for inviting me. Hello, Felipe. Glad to be here with you and to talk about Spiritism.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you know, Roberto, recently Felipe was in São Paulo for
Mhm.
work purposes, and he had an opportunity to visit the
Mhm.
Spiritist Federation in the state of São Paulo. Felipe
Mhm.
described the feelings, what you encountered. When you described it to me, I was like, oh man, I wish I were there. Tell
Yes,
us.
yes. First of all, good evening, everyone. Roberto, it's good to be with you here tonight. Yes, I was in São Paulo for work a couple weeks ago, and going to the Spiritus Federation of the state of São Paulo was my top priority while I
Mhm.
was in Brazil. So that's what I did. I think on my second day there, I had the chance to go and visit, and just when I got out of the cab and just seeing the beauty and seeing the sign, he already really touched my heart.
Mhm.
Just for the vibration of the place, and as I brought a couple friends with me, and as soon as we enter, we were greeted by lovely, friendly
Mhm.
folks there that guided us, that directed us, and then we got to tour a little bit on the first and second floor
Yeah.
of the building, and then we got to sit down to listen to
Mhm.
a short talk for about 15-20 minutes, and then we received the passes. So it was truly like a dream to be there for me.
Wow.
So and then as soon as we left the room, we went upstairs and checked out the library, bought
Mhm.
some books, and it
Mhm.
was just like a whole beautiful experience. And I can't wait to be back and to visit the federation again in São Paulo. So
Yeah, wonderful. Next time, yeah,
yes,
next time we will meet each other.
absolutely, sounds
Yeah.
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes, that's wonderful. It's a dream.
Yeah, it felt
We are
like it
gonna
was a
get
dream.
there in the US one day. One day.
Yeah, for
For
sure.
now, we have one floor. One day we'll build more floors. Right, Roberto? Thanks
Right.
to your support,
Yeah.
Roberto, you have no idea how important it is for us here in the US to have you supporting these works in Spiritism in the US and around the world. It's very meaningful to us. It reminds me of a letter that Chico Xavier wrote from Brazil to Haddad in North Carolina,
Mm.
saying how important it is for the Brazilian people in Brazil to make efforts to support Spiritism in the US.
I agree totally. Yeah, right. I agree totally.
Yes. So we have one more friend, my brother, Leo Vieira. He is here with us. What's happening? What's happening to the.
Oh, oh,
Yes. Leo Vieira from the Spiritist Society of Baltimore. I know you from many lives, Leo. Confess, how happy are you to be a Spiritist in this life? Is he there? Oh my gosh, the internet.
yeah. Ah,
Yeah, it's coming. No, it is. Oh, okay.
uh,
Leo is coming. I know probably because it was raining here
Yeah.
recently. There
yeah.
was a storm because it's so hot right now,
Mm,
right? And it's what 30 some
Right now,
degrees
yeah, and
Celsius.
it's
wow,
hot.
Yeah.
very
Tomorrow
high.
it promises to be close to 40 degrees.
No.
And this is just the beginning of summer.
Mm,
So it's quite impressive,
Yeah.
right?
no, no.
So while Leo join us, I know he at some point he's gonna be coming along. Roberto, we are talking about the foundation. As Kardec stated, the um, fundamental remarks, the elementary remarks about Spiritism. And now the topic is about spirits. He says concerning spirits, and he begins by saying what spirits are. And it's fascinating because he defines it.
Mm,
So we have common ground. He says they are souls of those who used to live on earth and on other worlds, stripped of their corporeal world,
mm.
corporeal envelope. To deny spirits is to deny the soul. First of all, when you read it all, what caught mostly your attention?
Uh, well, I see that Kardec in this part of the book, he's starting by saying that the common belief about spirits is that they are separate beings from humanity. And then I reminded about the medieval philosophy where we have those concept of angels. Angels, according to those thinkers, were beings that were created already perfect by God. They don't have any corporeal body, and so they are perfect with nobody since the beginning, since they were created. And then we have other beliefs about demons, for example, that are other type of other kind of beings that are created uh, also without no corporeal body, and they are devoted to evil forever, which is making no sense. And the idea, the concept of angels or demons make no sense because, after all, what Spiritism says is that they are part of a humanity like us, right? So angels are no more than spirits like ourselves that reach the perfection in their lives. And demons are beings that spirits like us that are still very imperfect. That's why they are devoted to evil. But someday in the future, according to the law of progress, they will evolve and reaching, including the perfection also, also like all of us. So what Kardec what is interesting about what Kardec says in this part of the book is that they they make us all the same beings, right? So we are all part of our humanity. That's what caught my attention in this text here. Another part that I think we are going to talk about today is the very interesting concept that Kardec working here between the difference about the concept of soul, spirit, and man. Uh, that's something that I would like to talk about
Yeah,
it, because it's very interesting.
yeah. It's interesting because very near my house there is a woman. I don't know her personally, but she has a big sign. She says she's a psychic.
Mm,
I know people are mediums everywhere and elsewhere, and I always wonder when people go in and they pay,
mm,
what kind of spirits are going to answer their questions,
yeah, yeah,
right? Because not all spirits know everything,
yeah.
right?
Right, yeah, and that's another interesting thing that Kardec talks about here by saying that the spirit, because we have we that we are incarnate spirits, and we have the discarnate spirits, which composes the spirit world, and so this is a new reality that Spiritism brought to us, right? The idea of they spiritually expand the reality by including the spiritual world with this discarnate spirits. Then Kardec says that it's those spirits, they are not perfect, or they're not devoted to evil like the concept of angels and demons, but they are in many levels like we are, because they are no more than us after uh, this corporeal life, right? So, and then we get to what you are saying. By evoking a spirit doesn't mean that we will always have a perfect spirit answering our questions, or bad spirit trying to make harm to us. But we have a spirit in all levels, and then we cannot believe in everything that they say, but we must uh, analyze well the content of what they say, and from doing this, we know which state of perfection they are. So they are beings like ourselves. So the psychic people, maybe they believe that there are some very evolved spirits that are answering to their question, right? And question regarding material interests, which is in this case, it probably will have low level spirits by responding to their question, right? So it's a kind of illusion, I would say, right? By not knowing the reality of the spiritual world, and the spirit that communicate with us
Yes.
from them.
So we have here Elsa, our dear Elsa Rossi, good friend.
Uh,
She's the one who connected us to Roberto. She's saying that her dog was in the hospital. We pray for this lovely dog, Saul, and she is watching the program that we had at 12 p.m. about the new projects. Thank you, Elsa. And our friend, hey, Leo, I was just
mm.
saying, now confess, confess. So, is it good or not to be a spiritist?
Your sound, yeah.
It is great to be a spiritist, Vanessa.
What about to be a spirit?
Yes. Well, it's funny that you asked this question. I was hearing when unfortunately something happened to my my Wi-Fi. It just kind of froze here a little bit here.
Yeah.
But hello everyone. Good evening and good morning, whenever this is watched, or good afternoon, whatever part of the world you are. But it's good to be here with Roberto, with you, Vanessa, and all of you in this sense. But it's nice that you asked this question, because besides what Roberto was saying as well, I think from this part of the book concerning spirits, one of the areas that I thought that was so interesting is the consoling part of what Kardec brings, right? That just by reading this passage, we get the assurance that there is a way for us to continue a relationship with those that perhaps we leave behind, or those who advance, going back to the, when I say advance, is going back to our spiritual nature, right? That we can continue to have a relationship, we can continue to communicate with them, not through the fortune tellers, not through the conventional ways that we know, but hopefully spiritism will bring to us, ways as we grow, we mature as spirits and as spiritists as well, that we will be able to go ahead and maintain this connection. So in essence, along with this message that we're discussing here today concerning spirits, we have the assurance that it is great to be a spiritist, right? It's great to maintain the connections that we have established, those that we have reestablished, right? Depending on the situations that we bring from the past as well. If we acknowledge the future, we also have to acknowledge the past, or if we acknowledge the past, we also have to acknowledge the future, right? In terms of a continuation of eternal beings that we are, right? So yes, it's great to be spiritist.
Yes. And Kardec is so careful to disclose our triple composition. We are souls or spirits that have thoughts, will, and moral sense connected to a body that is material and a fluidic body that is imponderable and serves as a connection between us and the physical body. And he says that the only difference between us and the discarnates is that they have everything else, including a spiritual body, which is so important, but not the physical body. The implications of such, knowing that we have this multidimensional uh, existence, in the sense of like we're spirits connected to another dimension, and we have this fluidic body. It changes our lives, because not only now we need to nourish our bodies, but we need to nourish our souls. That's why we have Kardec Radio, right, Vinny? Right? But let's talk about this, the fact that when Kardec discloses this, he's bringing this threefold being, he says. This threefold being gives us a better sense of who we are and the perspective for lives to come. So, Roberto, you have studied the book Evolution in Two Worlds, for example, a book that we studied already here at Kardec Radio. We have a whole playlist about it. And in that book, Andre Luiz gives us a better idea about how this spiritual body is formed and how important this spiritual body is for us spirits. What would you like to say in that regard?
Yes, the book Evolution to Worlds, it's all about the spiritual body, but it's not restricted to our human spiritual body, which we call perispirit, right? But there, Andre Luiz is talking about the evolution of the spiritual body of all living beings. So he starts by talking about a cell, for example, a human cell, which is part of our body, that is there an intelligent principle, and that is a kind of a spiritual body, and also in this case it's corporeal, because a cell is a corporeal being, right? So he started by saying that in a cell you have already an intelligent principle, which is evolving through thousands of years until it reaches well, it goes to the vegetable kingdom, then to the animal kingdom, and then we have the humanity, right? So there he's talking about the evolution of such a spiritual body, which in the case of Earth is our spiritual body is the most evolved, right? So it's very interesting, the approach that um, Andrea Luis give us in this book. But the spiritual body, or is a very important concept because it one of the way that we identify ourselves with the spirits, because like you said, right, we are incarnate. Uh, we are an intelligent principle, a soul that Kardec says here. Uh, Such soul is involved by a spiritual body, and such spiritual body, let's say, is involved by the corporeal body. And then when after we pass away, we just leave here our corporeal body and goes to the spiritual realm with our spiritual body. So that's an important thing that you identify ourselves with the discarnate beings, meaning that then we don't have any fear for death anymore because we will live forever, like Leo said, right? We are eternal beings or mortal beings. So this concept of the spiritual body is very important. Something that the Spiritism, right, Kardec brought and explained lots of the things. Explain the spiritist phenomena, explain the what happens in our life today, causes from this life, causes from previous lives. So all of this is the concept of spirit body is involved in all these explanation, right? So of many facts and events involved in our lives. So that's very important.
It just reminded me when Felipe said that he went to the federation, the
Mm,
Spiritist Federation in São Paulo. You talked about how you felt the vibrations, right, Felipe?
yeah.
And and this is what nourishes us, is the very spiritual part of us.
Mm,
This we talk in spiritism, we say fluids,
yeah.
and just in lay terms, people say energies, vibrations, right? Doesn't that fulfill you?
It does, absolutely.
Mm,
And it's so interesting, Vanessa, that, we are talking. I think that today we're talking in the morning during the celebration of the 13th anniversary of Kardec Radio about the importance of spiritism. And then when I was in Sao Paulo, I was thinking about that. We nourish our bodies. We go to school and get degrees, and we may progress. You know, in materially speaking, but the most important thing, everything that we need to get nourished is our spirit, because according to the book Thought in Life, also
Yeah,
everything starts from this, and many other books, everything starts from the spirit,
yeah.
right?
mm,
So that's where we need to, of course, we need to also focus on all the areas of our lives, but the main focus, it needs to be
Exactly,
on the beginning of it all, right?
right.
exactly, exactly. Leo. So we as spirits, Kardec says, we retain all the perceptions that we had while on earth, but to a higher degree because our faculties are not deadened by the matter. Some people, they think that once the body dies, we no longer feel anything, no pain, no problems, no sorrows. They say, oh, now the person is going to rest. They suffered so much, now they are going to rest. And the spirits say, what do they say, Leo?
That we continue to be exactly how we left. If not worse in some cases, not trying to scare anyone, but
Yeah,
it is the reality, right? And it's a good reality because it allows us. Well, let me go back. It just to confirm what you're saying, as we learn with spiritism, yes, we continue to feel, think, behave the same way we are behaving now. And yes, for some this can be scary, right? But it is actually a good alert because it brings us to a position where, wait a minute, if I'm going to be that the same way on the other side, guess what? Let me try to do better here while in the physical body, so that when I go to the other side, I'm vibrating the same way. hopefully perhaps better, right, tomorrow than today, and so on and so forth. That is why, it brings it opens up an umbrella of things, right? One would be, suicidal thoughts, right? Guess what? If you think that this is going to cease with suicidal thoughts. When I say suicidal thought, it's not only the extreme taking the seizing life on the physical body, but when we think of these things, right? When we become workaholics, when we start looking for escape mechanism, right, in our lives, that we're doing things, that we're thinking of things to forget about reality, right? And it's important for us to look into that perspective to say, I want to live a spiritualized life while in the physical body, where I'm always in connection with my reality of a spirit, as Kardec is bringing to us here, this different types of connections that we have with the physical body, right? The different lives, so that I become a better being, right? And on the other sense, also, Vanessa, there is another extreme, right? And Kardec approaches this as well towards the end of this passage, is that the sense that for some of us would believe that after we lose the physical body, we'll become better beings, with a snap of losing the physical body, or perhaps becoming more enlightened, right? That we know everything, right? It doesn't work that way. We work progressively, right? The evolving of the spirit, of the mind, of the heart, is little by little, just as we're doing here on earth, right? Every single day, we hope to be better than yesterday, and tomorrow, better than today, as we will see also in the moral part of the gospel according to Spiritism, right? So, yes, I mean, it is a fallacy to think that we are going to cease with the pain, or everything will cease with the physical body, or perhaps that will become better as well. Many individuals, just to finalize, and this is something that I have heard a couple of times in the spiritist arena, dealing with some of our friends that actually believe that perhaps when someone passes, a loved one or someone, that we can evoke them asking them for a favor, because now they're entitled to give us a favor or to do something for us. It doesn't work that way. Perhaps that individual is just like they were when they left here. Um, and we also have to leave that for another side, for another moment. But we also have to think that the connections that perhaps were not so well established when they were in the physical body, perhaps now, because they're in the spiritual body, the friends that were not good friends, guess what, is now in a more attuned way with them. So we have to pray for one another. We have to be very charitable towards one another.
Yes. So for those who say RIP, rest in peace, there is no rest in peace. There is only WIP, work in peace in the spiritual realm,
Yeah.
right? That's the only way. So let me just say hi to a friend. I can believe he's awake. Salt Waters, you are awake in the United Kingdom at this time because it's middle of the night. But it's so good to have you here. He's a non-stop worker, a wonderful mind. Thank you, friend Salt Waters, for being here with us. He's saying hi to our dear Elsa, praying for the little dog, so cute. So we are praying for you today. For those who are here listening to Leo and Roberto and Felipe, we're talking about the spirit. If you want to know more, I'm going to show you quickly where you can find out more about this. Go to our YouTube page. Look, right there. You're going to find this playlist, Cases of the Afterlife.
Mhm.
And here we have all the cases of the Heaven and Hell book by Kardec in audiovisual format to listen to spirits who are happy, who are suicidal, who are criminal, who are suffering so much, who are just like everybody else. What happened to them? It's like 54. This was made with 54 voices. Leo was one of the voices. 54 voices from friends around the world helped us years ago record before AI record each and every case of the book Heaven and Hell and make it available in audio format. You can go to our YouTube channel, Kardec Radio, and we have the whole playlist here for you to listen to the cases and have an idea, a precise notion of what Kardec is saying. He's saying spirits are everywhere. Some people say to me, I don't want to go to cemeteries. I said, you think there are more spirits in the cemeteries or here? I assure you, as a medium, that there are more spirits where we are than in the cemetery because there they have nothing to do. But here, they have everything to do. Wherever we are, there are minds connected to us. And Kardec says, in our midst and at our side, rubbing elbows with us and observing us constantly. I love Kardec. He gives us a precise idea. He's a teacher, an educator, a scientist, and he's saying exactly what he investigated due to their continued presence amongst us. Spirits are the agents of diverse phenomena. How often, friends, we're talking and suddenly we say something, we didn't mean it. Somebody looks at us. We don't even know the person. And they say, why you're saying that? I don't know. But that's what's happening in my life. So, Roberto, how many cases of people come to the Spiritist Federation in São Paulo who have that feeling that they are the spokesperson of spirits and don't know what to do with it?
Lots of people come to the Spiritist Federation looking for answers for what happens to them, and then they started by going through the what is we say this the spiritual assistance when they got the passes, they hear the gospels, text from the gospels, and after that we recommend is their free will to accept or not to study in our courses here on Spiritism. And then if they accept, they start by going there, and then they will understand what is happening to them, those strange things that happen to them. They will a new let's say world will open up in their lives, and after that they they become collaborators from the spiritist movement, right? So this is the normal the normal way that the people uh, come to spiritism. They we say that they normally they come more by pain
Then love.
yeah, than love, yeah. But
Yes.
today there are also lots of people who come directly to the teaching area. And well, I would like to know more. I know a little bit about the spiritism, spiritism. I would like to know a little bit more. And then they enter in our courses, and so I want to do some good things. So that I would say that today there are more people who comes by the love way, not the pain way, right?
The
The
pain.
suffering way. Yeah.
Exactly. Saul Waters is here. He was about to sleep, but he stayed with us. Thank you, Saul. He sings a great conversation. I'm going to say something that Kardec states that also is very interesting because Saul is a therapist. And look at this, friends. He says the spirits perform an important role in our mental world and to a certain degree in our physical world. Consequently, they are one of the forces of nature. Lately I've been watching this series with my daughter, The Big Bang Theory, with Sheldon. It's a group of geniuses they become scientists, and they talk about nature, etc. So he says here, spirits are one of the forces of nature. Imagine the day science will give in, will discover that this is the reality. How is this going to change our lives? Leo, you've been studying at university and you've seen what people say and how far we still are from going to the core of our issues. That our problems are not in the physical brain, that they come in us as spirits. So, isn't that exciting that we see that statement by Kardec, such a logical statement, telling us that we're talking about nature, we're studying nature.
Yeah, yes, Vanessa. It's I'll take it back a little bit to what you said in terms of the idea of individuals who come to the Spiritist Center and they actually say, I see spirits, or I do this, I do that. On the other hand, we also have individuals. I like to expose myself a little bit here in terms of I have family members that they see, they hear, they have great sensitivity, but they don't want to deal with it. Right, they don't want to deal with it. They just scared, or as we were actually talking earlier today as well, that there are individuals that, what, this is not rational, this is not this is not that. I would say that soon we will have people, perhaps through pain, or perhaps with the a more open desire to say, what's going on, what is this coming from, because the painkiller that I'm taking is not taking the pain away, or quote unquote, at that time, I would say the disturbance away from me, right? And I think that the level of spiritualization of the world is growing. I like to be a little bit more positive on this side, more than in the past, right? As we were moving from the dogmas of religion of the past, not saying anything negative, but to be a little bit more spiritualized in terms of at least accepting that there is a tomorrow, right? Without even thinking about, as we said earlier, as Kardec bringing to us very rationally, that if we accept the future, we also have to acknowledge the past, right? That we have a past. We can see this through our traits. We can see this with how some of us are developed in some areas than others, and we are more developed than others in certain areas as well. So, what I would like to say is that I'm very positive about a future where people will look into these things and say, what is this? And it will be beautiful because conventional science will look at it and say, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There is already a study, there is a very well organized group of thoughts, right? Placed together by a lot of work done in the past that we can utilize and we can bridge together and try to expand on these topics. And I think it will be a moment of our lives as well where spirituality will also bridge hands with us here on planet Earth, where they will, let's say, help us with more communications, more serious communication, as we become serious about them as well. So I'm hoping for that future very soon. Hopefully, I will still be in the physical body, maybe in the next one.
We pray that we reach the next one. And you're talking about this, and we humans, um, we are all about feelings. We're feeling beings, no matter how good we are at expressing them or not. In Kardec, in item 19 of this book, he discloses something so important because our lives is about relationships. And he says, once the survival of the soul or spirit after death is accepted, it is reasonable to accept the survival of affectionate relationships. Otherwise, the souls of our relatives and friends would be lost forever to us. Since spirits can go everywhere, it is also reasonable to assume that those who used to love us during their life on earth continue to love us after death, that they can approach us, desiring to communicate with us by using the means at their disposal. Experience has confirmed this fact. Kardec, more than anybody else, has tons of experiments where he was able to meet somebody, evoke the person who loved that person is deceased. The person comes, confirms it all, and they disclose how much they wanted to communicate. Roberto, at the Spiritist Federation, they have mediumistic meetings, obviously. And how many cases have you seen within the Federation, outside the Federation, noticing like Chico Xavier's works and other mediums' works? How important is this a validation for those who stay that their loved ones were not gone forever? The letters, right? From the family members. Could you tell us something about it? Oh, hold on.
That's very important because it's a way that comforting those who stay here, right? So we have cases of parents, for example, that after losing a son or a daughter, then they lose the desire to live, right? So because they in their mind they will never see or hear or have the opportunity to meet their loved one anymore. And then by those letters that Chico Xavier wrote, they have the confirmation that they will still alive, and they the sentiment, the affection was did not have an end, and life did not have an end. So that is very comforting to those who remain here, right? So it's very important this. Uh, in the now in the, here in the Spirit Federation, we don't have this situation, letters that are written by mediums, right? But we have more this communication with the spirit in the spiritual assistance area, and more in the I would say this obsession work by talking to the spirits who comes, who communicate to the mediums, and then we talk to them and also comfort them, right? Because it's very interesting, Vanessa, that in the spiritist work there, uh, some discarnate spirits come and they even don't know that they are not alive anymore. So they
Yeah,
just say, "Well, I was there in the hospital. I was waiting for a big surgery to um, and then now I'm here." So they even don't know that they have passed away. There are many cases like this. Another said, "Well, I was driving, then I was involved in an accident, and now I'm here." So then we talk to them. We don't say, "Well, you are dead," right? No, we say, "Well, you see that the life does not end, right? When you are still alive, so you can talk through this medium here. You can communicate with us." So we kind of comfort them. So I think this is very important also, because it's the opposite of what Chico Xavier did, right? So Chico Xavier actually did both things, right? Here we comfort the discarnate people, right? So
yes.
Chico did the opposite, comfort the lived ones. So
Exactly. And Saul Waters is saying, okay, he says, we see in statistics the value of spiritual religious group attendance in minimizing suicide and social isolation. Therefore, all spiritists may take advantage of the many groups, face to face or online, which offer us the chance to study Kardec and other Spiritist authors together, aiding our moral development and our chance to provide mutual support to one another. Beautiful soul. Thank you so much for sharing this. We agree with you, and it's an important realization. And Leo, as Roberto is talking about the how it can be important to do this rescue work of the discarnates so they can also reincarnate better. In your experiences as well in mediumistic meetings as a counselor, you've seen that a thousand times, right?
It's interesting as Roberto was speaking. It crossed my mind as well. Is that the the spirits who preceded that individual who just passed or who is at that spiritist meeting, they also had family members who passed years before. For example, if we're rescuing someone who is a son, right, who is just quote unquote, depending on the time, we don't know that the spirit is being rescued now. It passed, let's say, recently or years ago as well, because it all depends on the timing for them to realize what they are, right? The realization. But the mother who passed many, many, many years before, they are there to rescue them. So this gives us another assurance that perhaps the mother is there waiting. The mother who was that mother of that son, that life, they're there to help, and they're presenting themselves to say, I'm here to rescue my son, right? I'm here to help this soul or this individual who needs, my care right now. And the mentors, the guides that they are guiding that spirit who is being rescued at the spirit center, they allow this to happen because they want to see a familiar face. They want to see that mother heart, the father or the grandfather, right? That sometimes the grandmother who comes with that beautiful heart to rescue that individual. So it's another confirmation that life goes on. We are connected, much like the ones that are staying here with those who passed, but also who preceded us, going back to our spiritual nature. And it's a beautiful thing. It's very consoling. And by far, this is one of the best parts of this passage that we're studying here today, which is this consoling part, right? That Spiritism brings to us. It's not to scare anyone, but it's bring this consolation that life goes on. Not the physical cease, but that's why we need to live a more spiritualized life. Beautiful reminder, Roberto.
Yes, thank you, Leo. And Felipe, when you go to the mediumistic meeting, it's so interesting, right? We sit down, we're prepared, but we don't know what's gonna happen. The spirits come, and so many cases unfold. The rescuing of those spirits. What would you like to share in that regard from your experience? What you've seen this far?
Absolutely. And I think that, as Leonardo said, and Roberto as well, you just see that the same problems and the same issues and the same feelings, they continue. And during the spiritual during the communistic meetings, there is a chance for them to be consoled, for them to be guided. So I think, I know it just aligns with what Leonardo just mentioned, the importance of spiritual being, having literacy, spiritual literacy,
Yeah.
understanding what's happening in the spiritual world that is all around us all the time.
Yes. Yes, that's an interesting thing. And Kardec finalizes this part of the chapter. One of the things he states is the fact that, as Felipe was saying, those who were incarnated and were frivolous, they continue being frivolous. Those who are serious continue being serious. But in any event, life has an opportunity to advance to another level. And we see these spirit doctors, educators of the beyond, willing to prepare us to reincarnate better. And this is one of the reasons why mediumistic meetings are so important, because those spirits who are rescued, who are consoled, like Roberto said, they had an accident, they were going through a surgery, they discarnated, what to do now? And they are coming to be treated, sometimes to be prepared for a new reincarnation. They're going to reincarnate in a much better state if they have this opportunity. So, this is an appeal to all spiritist centers. Prepare yourself, study mediumship, because look at this. We are at a time on earth where spiritism became so theoretical. There's so many people studying, studying. And you will talk to them, they're like, but I've never been to a mediumistic meeting. I've never studied mediumship. So how can you be a spiritist if you never studied mediumship? If you never go to a mediumistic meeting? Kardec says, Spiritism, this is item 20. Spiritism's objective is to verify and to study the manifestation of spirits, their faculties, their happy or unhappy conditions, and their future. In other words, to know about the spirit world. So, as Leo was saying, our focus is in the true life, the spirit life. And to every day, as Louise Hay used to say, look at yourself in the mirror, say, I love you. We can say even more, say, I love myself because God loves me. And I'm a spirit, I'm not this body, though this body is blessed. But I need to see myself as I am, spirit, detached from the body. Sometimes we need to meditate, stop, and think, how do I look like beyond this body? Think about the vibrations I emanate in terms of color. It's a good exercise that the people in the school of Professor Lips Barçanufo in Sacramento, they do. Alzira Bessa Mui, França Mui told us that they do these exercises, thinking about how do we, if we are light, is it warm? Is it cold? What kind of texture are our vibrations? Are they spiky? Are they soothing? If we have a kind of smell, what kind of smell is it? It's a perfume or is it an odor? And little by little, we're going to feel ourselves as spirits, as Leo said. And then we're seeing other people as spirits. And then when we enter in contact with the discarnate world, it's just a continuity of our lives. That's the life of Chico Xavier. He could live in two worlds so well and constantly. So as we're marching to the wrap up of the program, Katya Yushkak is here too. Thank you, Katya, for joining us. So, and we have other friends on Instagram. We have Temis Nero, Magda Alicia Pena. Thank you, Magda. Thank you, Casa do Caminho. Thank you, Lara Liboni from Canada. Thank you, Bernardino. Friends, okay. Roberto, what would you like to share with our friends who are out there? And we're talking about the importance of making this understanding so easy. Spirit is another force of nature, by Kardec's terms.
Yeah, this expression from Kardec, spirits are a force of a nature. It is because actually they are part of a nature like ourselves, right? But they are intelligent beings like ourselves. And so they, for example, they have a constant influence on our incarnate people, on our actions, on our thought, and they also have influence. They manage, let's say, the events of a nature. Like let's say we see that in the Spiritus book, right? So the storms, things like that, and they they manage lots of things regarding our life. So that's why they are force of nature, not in a material sense, but in the sense that they are thinking beings, right? So uh, that's I think why Kardec says that they are a force of nature. And what's important to also to have in mind is that we talked today about the soul, the spirit, and the corporeal body. And what Kardec stresses here in this book also is that the soul or spirit is the thinking being, is the one who have the free will, who have the moral sense, who have self consciousness, and the spiritual body is just a body, like our corporeal body. So the perispirit or the spiritual body does not think, does not feel, that does not. The spiritual body transmits the sensation from the corporeal body to the spirit, but it is the spirit who have the sensation, right? So that is something very important also to have in mind. And also when we say, for example, that, like you said, well, I see an spirit. In this case, we do not see the spirit. We see the spiritual body. We see the perispirit. So yeah, you asked about, well, what would we like? Would we be, right? Well, after we go to the spiritual world? Probably most likely we are today. Well, our spiritual body would reflect the moral, our moral evolution. So um, what I want to say is that the spiritual body is the corporeal body just to reflect what the spirit are, and what the main thing is here is the spirit, is the thinking being, the soul. And so that's something very, I think, very important that Kardec stresses here, because when you look at the spirit book, there he asked, well, what is the soul? And the spiritists answer, well, the soul is the incarnate spirit. And the soul, the soul and spirit are the same. Yes, they are the same. So there, the concept of soul and spirit are mixed. Here in this book, what Spiritism, he gives us a more precise definition. We said, well, the spirit or soul is the intelligent principle, is the thinking being. The perispirit is just a body, like the corporeal body. It's not dense, it's not material, but it's fluidic, but it's the body. The main being here is the spirit, the soul or spirit. If you we think in that way, then we see that we incarnate or discarnate does not make much difference apart about the corporeal body, right? Because we are this thinking being, this essence that we are even here incarnate or there discarnate.
Yes. We have here Linda. Thank you, Linda Fly, for being here with us. Thank you, Franklin Guido. Thank you, French, for your support. Leo, thank you, Roberto, for being here with us. It's almost midnight in Brazil, and you are here with us. Thank you so much, Roberto. We're very grateful.
I thank you by this
Thank,
opportunity to be with you.
thank you. Leo,
I just want to echo a couple of things that you said, Vanessa, and Roberto as well. When you say to look at, reminding our great Louise Hayes, right? Looking at the mirror and saying "I love you." And I would like to pose a question to everyone: how can we love something that we don't know,
yeah,
right? And I don't want to stay just on the philosophical part of this, because it can be very philosophical and we lose ourselves. The idea is to look in the mirror and try to love ourselves by getting to know ourselves, by asking, why do I feel this way? What triggered that moment, that burst, right? What am I listening to in terms of the things that we think that we are hearing? But it is this reality that Kardec is, with us here, right? The bringing to us here, that is the spiritual side of life, right? That we still connect with the other minds that are rubbing elbows with us, right? And as we get to know ourselves, as we get to know this reality that Roberto is also reminding us, the reality of a spirit, right? We also will see ourselves as evolutionary beings, that we have great traits, we have great things that we look at. It's like, oh, this is so beautiful of me, right? Yes, there are many things within ourselves that we need to fix, that we need to correct. Let's not punish ourselves. Let's move on. All right, you know what? it was wrong yesterday, but today is much better. So
Yes.
let us get to know ourselves. Let us love ourselves. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Leo. You are a philosopher now.
Mhm.
Hopefully, I didn't stay on the philosophy side. Let's bring
Kardec
practical
made you a
ways.
philosopher. That's what it is, Leo. Felipe, would you like to share final comment for those who are watching us about the teachings?
Yes, I think that, just echoing what Roberto shared, what Leo shared, one of the beautiful things about Spiritism is just giving us that certainty that every day and every moment is an opportunity for renewal, to start anew. So just knowing that already fills our hearts with hope, and just having the certainty that we are always supported, that we always can restart. And as Leo said, if I made a mistake, if I didn't do it well today, you know, next second is a new opportunity for me to do it again and do it better. And just as as you're talking, reinvent and work on ourselves and mold the good and seek the good, and above everything else, do the good, right?
Yes, Felipe, thank you. So we want to thank everybody. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Saul, for being with us and supporting all these works with your comments as well. And we look forward to seeing you in 1 week when we're going to come back to this program about what Spiritism. Next topic we're going to discuss is about the communications with the invisible world. I think that it's coming ever more exciting for us. And as Salt Waters is saying, Spiritism consoles us that we are never alone and always loved. What else can we say but thank you, friends? We wish you many blessings and we look forward to seeing you at another time. Thank you, friends. See you next.